on the campus of Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas. It is opening day. The Birmingham-Southern Panthers are in town to face the Trinity Tigers, and we are ready for this top 5 matchup that we get to start the season with. Cole Isaacson here with me. I'm Brian Yanselson. Could you ask for a better way to start this campaign?
No, Brian, absolutely not. Anytime you get a 3 versus a 4 in any sport, it's just a really exciting thing. But the thing with these two teams is that they're both really similar. Both of them had really high-powered offenses that could get runs in bunches, and both at times had to outscore pitching that would have given up more runs than they would have wanted. But a key difference between these teams is Birmingham-Southern has 6 of 8 all-region players returning from last season, whereas Trinity losing a lot of that offensive production. I'm excited to see how these guys fill into their new roles on the Tigers.
It'll be a potent offensive matchup for sure if these teams live up to what they are used to. And these teams are very familiar with one another. If you kept track of things last year, you'll remember Trinity took a trip out to Birmingham early in the season, that opening weekend tournament against WashU, Lynchburg, and Birmingham-Southern. And then Tigers didn't quite have enough that weekend because they wanted to go right back to Alabama. They headed to the Super Regional to face the Birmingham-Southern Panthers, and they beat them twice on their home turf to earn a trip to the World Series for the 3rd time ever. They fell a little short there, but they are looking to get right back there, ranked number 3 by the ABCA, the American Baseball Coaches Association, ranked number 5 according to D3 Baseball. Meanwhile, the Panthers ranked 4 in both of those polls, so that top 5 matchup right from the get-go. And you see on your screen the starting pitcher for the Trinity Tigers, Joseph Shavana, the junior from Laredo, Texas, became the go-to guy on the mound last year for Trinity, and he'll get the start to open the 2023 season this time.
Yeah, it was really no question who was going to open this season. He led the Tigers in innings by a lot last year, had over 90. I think the next closest had around 60-something, so he was the guy by a lot. Pitched in that game against Birmingham-Southern and gave up 2 home runs. And we talked to him before this game. He talked about the moment that he threw that pitch to Noah Best, and he knew it was going to be gone. So he asked his pitching coach, Dave Smith, what can he do better? Because he thought that that wasn't good enough, and he put a lot of work in this offseason to become what Dave Smith said, a dude or a dominant arm.
Only time will tell if he has truly become that dude. And it is time to start finding out. The first pitch in San Antonio, a called strike from Shavana, delivered to Andrew Dutton, the junior from Southside, Alabama. One of those 6 all-region players you mentioned, Cole. Second pitch of the evening, a little bit off. 1-1 the count as Dutton takes his time, left side of the batter's box. He'll swing at this one low, called in the infield by the shortstop. And the first out of the season goes to Michael Montreza.
I think that's already something that we're seeing that Shavana talked to us about, locating those pitches low. And when you get them low like that, the hitters are going to have to go down and get them. And he's able to get a contact out instead of a strikeout. That should help his pitch count as we go along.
First pitch strike here to Cam McNearney, the senior from Kennesaw, Georgia. Hit .333 a year ago in 39 starts. Not quite as many as some of those all-region folks, but still a very productive name at the top of this order. Looks at a ball outside. Number 3 against number 3. Shavana ready to go on the rubber. That one's lined foul. Get a good look at this brand new turf that the Trinity Tigers have. We'll get to talk about the impact these coaches think it'll have as we go through this game in this series. But certainly a new look for everyone involved here on Trinity's campus. The pitch on the way from Shavana in the dirt. Nope, it's going to be tapped out right in front. Shavana gets on top of it and gets the out at first.
Oh, he busted it out, Brian. It's the curveball. We didn't think we were going to see it that much. He talked about the curveball kind of dropping in the pecking order from his pitches last year. He considered it one of his big 3. It kind of fell down a little bit, but he gets it on the weak contact, and it was really well thrown.
Still wants to use it to keep it in the mind of those hitters, and certainly using it in the first inning will keep it fresh in the minds of the Panthers. As the third hole hitter, the dangerous Ian Hancock steps to the plate, looking to do some damage with no one on and 2 outs. Takes a ball low ahead of the count 2-0. But Ian Hancock, what a year he had. The first team All-American, 10th in the country with 16 home runs. A powerful swing there sends it back foul. Still ahead 2-1.
I think that the best thing that Coach Weisberg, coach of Birmingham-Southern, told us this week about Ian Hancock was that he can change the game with one swing. And a lot of these Panthers in this lineup can do just that, Brian.
Shavana goes up in the zone to get a strike, evens up the count at 2-2. Hancock, not only 10th in the country with those home runs, leading the entire Southern Athletic Association in home runs, on-base percentage, and slugging. Gets a weak ground ball here to the left side, collected by Holloway on to first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Joseph Shavana and the Tigers. Just what he wanted to do to get things going. We'll take a break here on Tiger Network and be back to see the Tigers come into bat. A perfect top half of the first for starting pitcher Joseph Shavana, and now the Tiger bats will try to do some damage. Lots of question marks in this lineup, a lot of uncertainty, but no question about the top of the order tonight. Ezra Gore leading off for the Tigers. Then you have Ty Preston. He'll be in left. Michael Montreza at shortstop. Those positions you see on the graphic, not quite right, so we'll read it off for you here. Gore in right field, Preston in left. Montreza starting at shortstop. Nick Lazera behind the dish as catcher. Brandon Nelson at DH. Christian Holloway at third base. Jack Peterson in center. Colt Harris at second. And Corson Hastings will be at first base. So those are the starting 9 for your Trinity Tigers. And in those bright white home uniforms, Ezra Gore will get it going. First pitch from Joey White, a ball. The sophomore from Pembroke, Georgia, getting the opening day start for Birmingham-Southern. He had a quite literally perfect year as a freshman. Has a little foul ball here off the bat of Gore. Evens up the count at 1. 8-0 for White, a 3.76 ERA. 69 innings to lead the way for these Panthers. And Coach Weisberg confident in his ability to start opening day.
Yeah, the one point that he brought up was that he's very athletic, and he also lets the defense do its thing. It's a very athletic defense behind him, and if you can get soft contact and ground balls, they're going to take care of you. So he said he does a great job of getting exactly that.
He's ahead in the count, 1-2 against Gore. In the turf, swing and a miss from Gore. Fleming has to clean it up. He does in the first out, a strikeout for Joey White.
Yeah, Coach Weisberg said he had a decent breaking ball. That looked a little better than decent to me. That was a curveball that went straight down. And I'm impressed that Ezra Gore even got a piece of that.
Now coming up to bat for the Trinity Tigers, number 20, Ty Preston. And he is going to be one of 5 guys in this starting lineup that made fewer than 10 starts a year ago, as Coach Tim Scannell goes with a whole bunch of new names. Preston appearing in a total of 10 games a year ago, starting in just 2 of them. But he is in there in the second slot behind Gore. He'll swing over the top of this one. Home plate umpire says he tipped it into the mitt. And right back in the batter's box he goes. Joey White delivers a big breaking ball just off the corner. Preston able to lay off.
Yeah, I think he was trying to throw that one for a strike. It just barely missed. He got exactly what he wanted. Preston wasn't going to touch that.
A very tough take. You see Fleming putting the fingers down, calling for the off speed, and just a little roll out for Preston. The throw on to first in time to retire the second out of the inning. Both pitchers getting what they want in this first inning, and it'll be up to Michael Montreza to see if he can be the first man on base for the Tigers.
Yeah, Michael Montreza. There's a lot of questions in this infield as to who's going to play, but none of them were at shortstop. Michael Montreza definitely going to be there, and we know he's going to be at the top of this lineup for most of these games.
Takes a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Montreza in his 5th year of college baseball. The California product hasn't been here for all 5 years. Looks at another breaking ball. This one does get in there. Joey White really commanding that curveball and looking to put away the shortstop, who has taken on a leadership role for the Tigers. Wasn't sure of his position coming into last year, but this year very certain that he'll get playing time in the middle. But here he fans at a fastball outside. So both pitchers starting things off 1, 2, 3. Of course, we said potent offenses, right? So that only means we're going to get a 1-0 ball game if you believe in the announcer's jinx. But we'll take a quick break on Tiger Network and be back to see more of Joseph Shavana. Welcome back to Tiger Network. Noah Best at the plate, the senior from Villa Rosa, Georgia, takes a big cut and a strike to start things off. 2 guys who are very familiar with one another, but you mentioned at the start, Cole, Shavana didn't remember the name, but he remembers the experience of giving up 2 home runs to Best. But this one will not be a home run. It'll be a pop out to center field, Peterson underneath it, and a much better result for Shavana against a guy who gave him all sorts of trouble. He went 6 1/3 in that super regional game in Birmingham, gave up 6 runs, and all of them were courtesy of Noah Best, hitting 2 home runs, including a grand slam off of Shavana. So definitely a man to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and
First
Shavana,
pitch strike here to Fleming.
Shavana talked about that experience with Noah Best hitting those home runs, and it really motivated him to work in the offseason. And him and Dave Smith talked about how much better he's gotten. And with the version of Shavana that we saw last season, and to think that we're going to get a better one, that's an exciting thing to find out.
Great off-speed pitch there. Gets just a foul tip from Fleming. And I think you're absolutely right, Cole. If you get better than 10-2 from Shavana, you are already getting so much. He had 4 complete games, 2 of those shutouts, an ERA a little over 4, but a few outings really inflated that because for the most part, he was dominant, and he continues to be so today, striking out Fleming. That's 5 Panthers up to bat, 5 Panthers back to the dugout.
Yeah, his first K of the day, but I've been impressed with the soft contact he's been getting from the previous 4 batters, because that's really going to lower his pitch count. He's going to be able to go really deep into this game if he keeps this up.
Now we have, for the first time, really a new name in the Panthers lineup, mentioning so much of the guys who are returning and who have become a staple of the Panthers offense, but this is Jacob Zito, a transfer from Central Alabama Community College. Grounds it to short. Montreza there. A little bit off with the throw, but the umpire says the tag is there. A nice job by Hastings to get the transfer out. And that is 6 up, 6 down for Shavana and the Tigers. So we'll head to another break on Tiger Network and see if the offenses wake up a little bit on opening day. Quick break on Tiger Network as we wanted to come back and really welcome you and explain to you all the craziness that is happening at Trinity University. We are so lucky to have incredible broadcasts for you, game in and game out across sports, and we are thrilled to be on the air with you tonight. You might notice you've only had one angle so far. We are working very hard to get all our cameras in order and delivered to your home. But right now, we don't have all those angles. We also don't have a score bug quite yet, but we will have a graphic with the score and hits and all sorts of things like that. This is a very unusual game, Cole, though. We have basketball happening right behind us, the women and the men's teams playing against the University of Dallas. And we have a presidential inauguration happening on campus. President Vanessa Beasley being inaugurated as the 20th president in Trinity history, the first female president in Trinity history. And so Tiger Network has been stretched very, very thin, but we are still doing our best to give you what we can.
Yeah, really excited to bring in that next chapter in the university and also bring you the opening day of baseball.
Any camera is better than no camera. And we are here with Joey White, bottom of the second inning, facing Nick Lazera. Takes the ball outside. We'll try to give you more frequent updates exactly of the count and the score since you don't have it for you. Nick Lazera, one of those 5 starters who started in fewer than 10 games a year ago. Looks at a ball down low. 2-0 the count in favor of Lazera. He appeared in 14 games, started in just 9 of those. But he is behind the dish as the catcher tonight and in the leadoff spot. Looks at a strike on the corner to bring it to 2-1. And Cole, you have to expect we're going to see a lot of Lazera, not only in the lineup, but behind the dish.
Yeah, right now behind the dish a lot more because our all-world catcher, Tyler Pettit's been out with a hand injury. Just got the cast off as Lazera grounds one up the middle. I believe that's going to be out number 1. Can't quite tell. We're having some issues with our camera. But Coach Scannell called Lazera one of the best hitters on the team, if not the best pure hitter on the team. The only switch hitter on the team. So you can expect that Trinity is going to find a lot of ways to work him into the lineup, even when Pettit comes back and is a regular catcher.
Yeah, Tyler Pettit, a first-team all-region player for the Tigers, who hurt his hand early in the offseason, really in the spring training, as you want to call it, just like the MLB teams do. So he'll be out for a little bit, but expecting to be back soon, giving Lazera and Matt McNaney chances as catchers in his absence. Has a ball low there to Brandon Nelson. The theme continues. Brandon Nelson, the sophomore from Missouri City, Texas, just 2 starts a year ago, yet here he is on opening day. Takes a ball above the letters there. And boy, is Tim Scannell high on Brandon Nelson. Glowing reviews of someone who has been a catcher, been a first baseman, but tonight as a DH because they feel the need to get his bat in the lineup no matter the situation. Has a 1-2 count on him here. White looking confident. Gets Nelson to line the other way. Shortstop there, though, and another ground out retired by Birmingham-Southern. The defense active early and active often, just like Coach Weisberg said.
Absolutely. Very athletic defense. And Joey White's doing exactly what Coach Weisberg loves him to do. Put it in play for these defenders and let them handle it. Very good at fielding and can make a lot of athletic plays behind them. But I want to go back to Brandon Nelson quickly. He said that Coach Scandal said the offense is going to be built around him, and really encouraged to hear that.
Absolutely, very high praise for someone who just got into 5 games in 2022. And he transitions to someone who saw a lot more at-bats. Another ground ball to shortstop, though. Noah Best has been busy over there, and it'll be 3 up, 3 down. As Holloway making his way over to first. Maybe he beat that out. Sorry, folks, again, doing our best, but we are not out at the field, unfortunately, so we can't see it like we would like to, and then some of our cameras not quite in order. So we will just take their word for it that Holloway reached, and Jack Peterson will step to the plate. First base runner for either team. Peterson chops it foul.
Yeah, a lot of chaos today on the broadcast, Brian, but it's one of the best parts of the job, in my opinion. Maybe not the cameras going out, but having to handle a bunch of things at once and being live on air and not knowing what's going to happen, it's a really exciting thing.
Live television, folks. You never know what will happen. Pickoff move. Gets Holloway diving back into first. What a job by Joey White to get the runner there. And so it wasn't 3 up, 3 down, but White takes care of business anyway and sends us to the top of the third, but not before a quick break on Tiger Network. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Tiger Network. 0-0 the score between Birmingham-Southern and Trinity, headed to the top of the third. The 4th-ranked team in the nation, Birmingham-Southern, visiting the number 3 or number 5 team in the country, depending who you ask, in the Trinity Tigers. First pitch strike from Shavana. Hitting now for the Panthers, the 5th-year senior from Atlanta, Georgia, Luke DiPiero. Looks at a ball outside, even up the count at 1. DiPiero didn't have the year he is used to, 235 average. He is a 301 career hitter, though, and someone who has a ton of experience in the black and gold uniform of the Panthers. And it just goes to show the depth of this team. You have someone who's a career 300 hitter hitting 7th in the lineup. Takes a strike right down the middle there to even up the count at 2.
That's exactly what Coach Weisberg said. He said these 7, 8, 9 guys would be hitting in the top 3 on most other teams. And most of their teams in prior years, as he can't beat it out to first base.
Yeah, nice job there by Corson Hastings, taking care of business himself. And we've got a replay here. So slowly but surely we are getting some of our features back. You get a look at Hastings. Perfect timing. Just stepping on the bag for the first out. Off-speed pitch on the outside corner for a strike on Wesley Diamantis, another fifth-year senior, and someone else from Atlanta, Georgia. Big cut, waves that in, misses it, so a quick 0-2 hole for the fifth year. Shavana looking confident, working quickly, and the 0-2 from him in the turf. Lazera can't quite get it, so 1-2 the count. Diamantis, not someone who played against Trinity in that super regional, as he swings through a pitch here, make it a K for Shavana. And it is only the top of the third, and it is only the first game of the year, Cole, but it looks like Joseph Shavana is looking like a dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Really working with everything. We've seen the curveball a lot more than I probably would have expected coming into this game, but I think he's really hitting all of his pitches, getting the fastball low. And he's got everything working as an attempted bunt there.
There's a lot of speed there, hustling down the line, but an excellent play by Lazera and an even better grab by Hastings to get the speedy Will Lantis. We'll get a replay on that. The number 9 hitter looking to sneak one by the Tigers. And it was a pretty good bunt, right where he wanted it. But Lazera hopping out quickly and nailing him by a step.
It's like an NFL receiver, Brian, able to get the feet down.
The Tiger defense helping out their starting pitcher. 9 up, 9 down for Birmingham-Southern. Shavana on a roll. We'll see what Joey White has as a response after this break. Bottom of the third already in San Antonio. Birmingham-Southern 0, Trinity 0. Joey White and Joseph Shavana living up to their billing as opening day starters thus far. Jack Peterson, a ball inside to him. He was at the plate when Holloway got picked off of first. So the Tigers with one base runner, but it only lasted about a pitch.
Yeah, only base runner in this one so far. Very surprising. That one's fouled off, but we expected a lot of offense from these two teams. We thought they'd be kind of trading blows, and they have been. It's just come from the pitching instead.
It really is the biggest question for both of these teams. You've got two offenses that ranked in the top 12 of offensive production. Trinity averaging 9.8 runs per game as Peterson grounds it to first. Little indecision there, but Diamantis ends up taking it himself for the out. Trinity averaging those 9.8 runs per game, 8th most in the country. Birmingham-Southern not far behind, 9.6 runs per game. That was 12th best. But what stopped both of these teams short of a World Series championship was the pitching. For Birmingham-Southern, a team ERA of 4.52, which all things considered isn't that bad. It led the SAA in the top 56 of the country. But for Trinity, it really was the question mark. A team ERA of 6.29, the highest team ERA since 1999 for the Tigers, something they are really trying to correct. And Joseph Shavana looking to be the man to steer the ship.
I think another key piece of that is going to be the bullpen as well behind him. We'll see how many innings Shavana can go, but he can only go about 7, you would think. So it's going to be up to a lot of guys behind him to keep what he's going into the later parts of this game. But Dave Smith talked about the hunger and the work ethic that's coming out of this pitching staff, and he hopes that people are shocked by how much better they are this season.
Cut on and miss there by Harris. Count at 2-2. One away here in the bottom of the third. Pitching coach Dave Smith really taking the responsibility himself, saying there's no one more to blame for that ERA than himself. But along with this new turf, new energy, and new vibes among this Trinity pitching staff, we hear it not only from Coach Smith, but every pitcher that we've gotten to speak to promising us that it'll be very different. One thing the Tigers hope is not different is the production from Colt Harris, who is battling here at the plate. The count is full, and he fouls it to the Trinity dugout there. Colt Harris, the junior from Katy, Texas, was part of one of the big questions going into last year. Who would start at second base? There was a little bit of a rotation at first, but then he took grab of it as he continues to foul pitches off here. Ended up hitting .319, belted 6 home runs along the way, 42 runs batted in as well. So after about a couple weekends, he was able to cement his spot at second. Goes very fittingly with his number 2 jersey. The 3-2 low and away, so a base on balls earned by Harris. One of the better at-bats we've seen from the Tigers thus far.
Absolutely, only the second base runner. To go back to those question marks that were coming at second base, I think an important thing to look at with his statistics is he wasn't playing every game to start the season. He was in that revolving door at that position, and we're going to see a similar thing at first and third, I think. But Colt Harris will have a full season at second base to maybe even improve on what he did last year.
With 1 out in the bottom of the third, game tied up at 0. Hastings at the plate. Corson Hastings, that is, takes a ball up and in for a ball. The junior from right here in San Antonio, the Churchill High School product, appeared in just 7 games a year ago, started in only 2 of them, as White really feeling that pickoff move nearly nabs Harris again for his second pickoff out of the evening, but Harris does get in there safely. White here getting set, keeping an eye on Harris. And another throw over. This one gets away from Diamontis, but not too far.
It's interesting that we're seeing a lot of pickoffs off of Joey White. We're expecting that a lot from Shavana and whoever comes out after him, because Birmingham-Southern, number 3 in the nation in stolen bases.
Taking a long time to get set. Hastings sends it the other way, but the left fielder able to creep in to make the out. Second out of the inning with Harris over there at first, and the lineup will get to turn right back over to Ezra Gore.
Well, it's one of the better hit balls we've seen. That's the first one that's gotten to the outfield, and I think you could view it as like a progression. You know, you're not touching it, and then you're touching it, and then you're getting, you know, good contact on it, and we'll see if we can get some hits next.
Another check on Harris. Safely once more. These Tigers have been emphasizing running on the base paths, whether it's stealing itself or just being very clean, turning as you go around the bags. Just another little aspect of this turf. The feel of it underneath your feet, making sure you know how you're stepping on the bags in the right way. All sorts of new things for the Tigers to deal with. And for an opponent who comes in for the first time, they'll have to deal with it very quickly and adjust in a hurry, as Gore sends this one the other way, giving chase is the right fielder, but it'll go foul into another new aspect of this field, the brand new visitors bullpen. You've got the new turf, new visitors bullpen, new home bullpen and hitting tunnel. Beautiful new facility there at the top of your screen on that angle. Lots more room for this team to utilize during practice. You've got so many things going on at once, it's almost hard to keep track. Gore awaiting the 1-1. Will sky it to right field. You can see his clap of frustration because not a ton on it Zito able to get underneath it easily. And despite a walk to Harris, White able to get out of the inning with no damage done. After 3 innings in San Antonio, Birmingham-Southern 0, Trinity 0. Welcome back to Tiger Network, top of the 4th inning. Things tied up at 0 as that ball gets away from Lazera. Seeing some of the comments in the chat, no, it's very frustrating, folks. We normally do have a scoreboard. We normally have a ton of angles and replays as well, but as mentioned at the top, we have 2 basketball games going on right now. We have a presidential inauguration as well. So the staff and all the students here doing their absolute best, so we appreciate your patience. Breaking ball by Shavana. Up and away to the leadoff hitter, Dutton. Count 2-1 in the hitter's favor. That one misses low. So really the first time Shavana has gotten behind on a hitter. 3-1 on the way to Dutton. Right there for him. Big swing by him, but he couldn't get much contact on it. And the count taken full.
Yeah, Shavana's been in absolutely excellent rhythm tonight. I think this is the first time that the count's gotten this high even. And he's just been doing a great job in command of all of his pitches and seems to know what he wants to throw.
That ball slapped the other way foul. Coach Weisberg calling Andrew Dutton one of those guys that just makes the team go. Part of the heart and soul of this Birmingham-Southern team, has played in pretty much every game since he was a freshman. Tried to call time here, doesn't get it. The 3-2 on the way. He's able to chop it the other way. It's going to be a tough play for Holloway. It is a fair ball and a base hit for Dutton. Not what he wanted. He wanted time, but he was able to stick in there and get the first base hit of the evening for the Panthers.
Yeah, the hits come how they come. Doesn't get great contact on that, but able to put it in the right spot where a play can't be made on it by Holloway. Almost got it, but just a really tough throw to get it there in time.
It was a perfect 9 out of 9 for Shavana the first time through the order. Now a base hit given up to the leadoff man, and we'll see if he is off and running. Lazera able to collect that one in time to keep the runner there at first, but this is a team, as you talked about, Cole, loves to run. Dutton, not one of those necessarily, just 6 stolen bases. But as a team, 142 stolen bases. You mix power and speed, and you get a super regional berth. That one lined in front of the right fielder for a base hit, and the Panthers now getting something going with 2 hits to start the top of the 4th.
Yeah, able to get that one in the right field, but I want to go back to how these Panthers can steal bags. Important thing that Coach Weisberg told us, everyone has the green light. So even Dutton, who only got 6 stolen bases last year, has the permission to go if he feels the moment is right.
A visit to the mound here by the catcher, Nick Lazera, calming the pitcher, Joseph Shavana, down a little bit. The first sign of adversity that he's received thus far. Shavana, no stranger to pressure. Started game 1 of that Super Regional in Birmingham, then game 1 of the World Series as Trinity fell to LaGrange. After losing to LaGrange, they were able to beat Baldwin Wallace to stay alive and then ended up falling once more to LaGrange. Their third World Series appearance in the last 7 years as Shavana fires in a strike there on Ian Hancock, not the guy you want at the plate, with 2 runners on and nobody out.
Yeah, first real jam for Shavana all night. I'm curious to see how he gets out of it.
Looks back at the runner at second, now fires home, misses off the corner. Zero-zero game, top of the fourth. Panthers looking to change that. A ball sent to left field. Charging in is the outfielder. He's not going to get there, though, but the throw quickly into Lazera will get the bases loaded with nobody out. And so after one trip through the lineup, these Panthers seeing the ball a whole lot better off Joseph Shavana.
Yeah, they're finally getting to him. This is going to be a real jam, real tough one to get out of. He's going to have, if he wants to get out of it with no runs, he's going to have to strike some people out. But we know he can do that. I think that that's pretty much his bread and butter. He's able to. He was getting a lot of soft contact tonight. It's not so soft anymore, but I think that he's going to be able to blow it by some guys. So we'll see what he can do.
And it'll be, guess who? That's right, Noah Best. Hit a grand slam off of him last year and has that scenario up for him now. Takes a strike to start the at-bat. Retired quickly his first time in the batter's box tonight, but now he's got bases full of Panthers. Lazera, a nice stop there. The ball in the turf.
It's a big play by Lazera, able to save a run there.
Yeah, and right there you see Lazera stepping up to block it. One of the things Coach Scandal mentioned, so key with Tyler Pettit not back there. He is an elite blocker. Really curious to see how Lazera and McNaney would step up. He did last time, and he lets Shavana get ahead 1-2 on Best after that little foul ball to the Panthers dugout. Shavana would love to see a strikeout here. Still a 0-0 ball game in the top of the fourth. What will it be? A breaking ball off the outside corner. Evens up the count at 2.
That's a good take by Noah Best with two strikes. It's very tempting to try and hit that ball, but able to take it outside and even the count.
Lazera setting up outside again. Another big breaking ball. Strike 3 called. Noah Best takes a look back at the umpire, but now takes a step towards the dugout. A big-time K for Shavana.
Absolutely. Put it in the zone. He's thinking Best is going to take it. He read it well last time, but he's going to put it in the box this time and get the K that way. They don't always have to swing, Brian. You can get them looking.
After the strikeout, a visit to the mound incoming from pitching coach Dave Smith. Wanting to chat with his opening day starter as there's now 1 out with the bases loaded. Top of the fourth, and now all Shavana needs is a ground ball to get out of the inning.
Absolutely. One play you can get out of this with no damage done, and that's really impressive when you think about that they had the bases loaded, nobody out. But that's exactly what we were saying earlier, that strikeout. You just need one punchy, and then you can put yourself in a whole different position.
Shavana talking to us this week saying he wasn't quite that excited about being the opening day starter, not because he didn't want to be out there, but it just hadn't sunk in yet that he would be out there. But he did say as it got closer, he would start to feel those jitters. Talked us through his opening day routine. Went last night to H-E-B, bought a steak, cooked it outside his dorm. Just likes to be mellow, be by himself, and really get in the zone. We'll see if that helps him escape this jam as the first pitch to Jack Fleming, a ball after the mound visit. The 1-0 to Fleming, swung on and sent back down to the turf.
If you're Birmingham, I think it's important to have the awareness of we have 3 guys on base, but we only need to get one of them in. As you know, these pitchers have been trading zeros all day so far, and to get that first run would be huge. Sweet.
Another great pitch by Shavana to get ahead in the count here on Fleming, who drove in 55 runs for BSC a year ago. Right in the heart of this lineup. Looking to do damage here, but behind 1-2. What will it be from Shavana? Off speed, fouled away.
Good job staying alive. 2 outs puts Shavana at a serious upper hand here. You know, getting a fly out and getting out of this inning. But if you can just hit it deep in the ballpark, you can score a run, and that'd be really valuable for the Panthers.
Shavana and his catcher trying to communicate, and time called now by the catcher, Lazera. And it looks like they're calling a balk on Shavana that will allow the first run of the game to score. Some miscommunication there by Shavana and Lazera will cost the Tigers the first run of the game, so not how anybody would have expected the first run to come across, but now that one gets away from Shavana, the count 3-2. Runners on second and third now with the Panthers up 1-0 in the top of the fourth.
That's a really tough call there with the chance to get out of this in a double play just taken away.
Now a line drive to center field. Peterson right there. He'll make the throw home. Cut off and will not be anywhere near in time to get the second run of the game for the Panthers. And so that balk really costing Shavana and the Tigers here. BSC up 2-0.
Yeah, it's good awareness there. You can good awareness to get the sac fly and just score the run. They had 3 guys on, but able to get 2 of them in. I think that's exactly what you need to do. That Birmingham definitely has the capability to get it all at once, but you don't necessarily need to do that, and sometimes it's not the best thing to try to do to win games.
Curveball, top of the zone, strike called on Zito. You've still got Ian Hancock out there at second. Panthers taking a 2-0 lead thanks to a sacrifice fly and a balk. Fastball up and away. Zito hitting .359 with 4 home runs, 42 runs batted in, and 14 stolen bases in 54 games with Central Alabama Community College. Waves at a curveball here.
They're really resorting to that curveball, and it seems to be working really well for Shavana today.
He had told us he didn't think he was going to use it that much. But certainly going to it, having a good feel for it as he misses with the slider down and away there. For Zito, not an easy task to replace an All-American, but that's just what he's doing. Cole Steadman, one of the few Panthers who is gone. As Zito looks at a close one, but it goes in his favor. 3-2 the count.
It's a good try by Lazera. He saw he brought his glove up at the end, trying to frame that and get the call, just not able to get it.
3-2 pitch coming from Shavana. Another breaking ball and a foul ball.
It's a good mix of pitches, going outside, outside down, and bringing one inside in on his hands. Trying to shake him up a little bit, I think.
Lazera moving in closer to Zito. Pitch is right there where he wanted it, and strike 3 for Shavana. Not before Birmingham-Southern scores 2 runs here in the top of the fourth. A balk and a sacrifice fly, the culprits of that. Tigers looking to get on the board and back into this game after a quick break on Tiger Network. We're back on Tiger Network. Panthers taking a 2-0 lead in the top of the fourth. As a reminder, still doing our best to get everything for you, still without a scoreboard graphic. But we are keeping you updated as best we can. Joey White certainly doing the best he can and more, living up to that perfect 8-0 record from a year ago. Facing Ty Preston here to lead off the bottom of the fourth. First pitch swinging is Preston. We'll send it to Best. He charges in. A pick from Diamantis, and the first out is retired. Excellent job there by the fifth year to bail out the shortstop with the pick off the turf.
It's a great play there, able to scoop it up. And not the best throw, but still put it in the area, and that's all you need to do when you have a good first baseman.
In comes Michael Montreza, the 3-hole hitter. Squares a bunt, takes it back, and it's a ball. Joey White did not start the year in the rotation for Birmingham-Southern in 2022. Was in the bullpen, got some action here and there, but according to Coach Jan Weisberg, he was just so dependable. He's a competitor, always throws strikes, lets his defense play, and it allowed Coach Weisberg and the rest of the BSC staff to confide in him to become a starter, and boy, was that a good decision for them. As he gets more weak contact here, the third baseman gathers it, throws it to Diamantis, and 2 ground outs to start the bottom of the fourth. Same old story for White.
I'm glad you said that he's a competitor, because that was definitely the key thing that I took away from what Coach Weisberg said about him, was that he competes, and that's what makes him a number one, is what he said.
Yeah, another phrase Coach Weisberg used, doesn't beat himself. Doesn't get into trouble with the walks. Just 17 walks in 69 1/3 innings. That is an impeccable mark. Loops in a curveball here to Lazera. And you can just feel the confidence oozing off of White right now on the mound, wasting no time getting back on the rubber. His pitch to Lazera gets him swinging over the top. That one floated a little bit. Not sure that's where he wanted it. But since he's been so in the zone and mixing his pitches well, he got Lazera to swing past it, and he's ahead of the cleanup hitter now, 0-2. Setting up outside is the catcher. He likes it, but Lazera able to lay off to take the count to 1-2. White shakes off Fleming, now has the right decision in mind. Tries to loop another one in there. Lazera being patient with 2 outs and nobody on. He didn't get much playing time, did Lazera, but he made the most of what he did. Half of his hits were for extra bases. Just 14 of them, but 7 were for doubles, triples, or homers. None of those here, though. A fly ball to center field will be the 3rd out of the inning. And on just a few pitches, Joey White retires the 2, 3, 4 hitters in this Trinity lineup to keep BSC's lead at 2-0, headed to the top of the 5th. A quick break once more on Tiger Network. We'll be back with more baseball. Time for the top of the fifth in San Antonio. Birmingham-Southern up 2-0 over the Trinity Tigers. What a way to start the 2023 season, a top 5 matchup between two teams that saw each other in that super regional. A called strike to Luke DiPiero to start the top of the fifth. But it's not very often you get such a rematch to start the season, and both sides were really excited. And I think the biggest thing that stood out is the respect that these two programs have for one another. Tim Scannell in his 25th year at Trinity, Jan Weisberg in his 16th season, and they're no strangers to one another because Birmingham-Southern used to be in the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference with Trinity right before they dashed to the Southern Athletic Association, but they have kept that relationship going over the last several years, returning visits to Birmingham and San Antonio. And what we've gotten as fans of these two teams is just good quality baseball every single time.
Yeah, I think you touched on it, Brian, the respect that these two programs have for each other, and these are both really winning programs that are trusted to be towards the top of Division III baseball pretty much every season, and the fact that we get to see them play each other every year is a really great thing.
Perfect location on the fastball for Shavana. Gets the strikeout of DiPiero. It was a fastball on the inside part of the plate, once again right where Lazera wanted it. So after a balk and a sacrifice fly that rattled Shavana just a bit, looking to be back in order with a pair of strikeouts to end the fourth and start the fifth before now a foul ball by Wesley Diamantis.
Yeah, I don't think confidence was an issue after the balk and after giving up the run there, because I think he got out of it about as well as he could have considering the situation he was put in. But, you know, he's really showing it now, getting those back-to-back strikeouts, and, you know, the confidence that he had left over, it's only risen from there.
The 1-1-2 Diamantis flied out to left field. No problem for Ty Preston. That's out number 2 in the top of the fifth.
Yeah, going back to getting some soft contact, able to get the deep fly out. I mean, they'll take outs however they can get them.
It'll bring up the speedy Will Lantis. Tried to bunt his first time at the plate. Nearly worked out, if not for the great arm of Lazera. He's a senior from Marietta, Georgia. A second-team all-region selection. Fouls that one straight back into the netting.
Yeah, the Will Lantis, definitely somebody that Coach Weisberg touched on, but the biggest damage that he can do and where he's the greatest threat to Trinity is when he gets on base. 38 for 38 in steals last season. Apparently the goal's 40, so we'll see if he gets there this year.
Yeah, he ducks out of the way of that big breaking ball ahead of the count 2-1. But even Coach Weisberg saying unheard of. A 38 for 38 season on the base paths. As another ball misses near Lantis, he's well in command of this one, 3-1. Not the guy you want to walk whatsoever, so we'll see if Shavana challenges him here. He does end up getting a strike call. Lantis wanted to scurry on over to first, but he'll take a step back into the batter's box. Count full.
I thought he had ball 4, but we'll see how he responds, knowing that he's down the strike 2 now.
Pitch in the exact same spot. A comebacker to Shavana. Easy throw to Hastings, and a 1-2-3 inning for Joseph Shavana after giving up 2 runs in the previous half. Gets right back in order this time around. We are halfway through in San Antonio, headed to the bottom of the fifth. Birmingham-Southern 2, Trinity still not on the board. ready to get the bottom of the 5th going in San Antonio. Birmingham-Southern 2, Trinity 0. Joey White looking confident, looking poised, and he has the experience against these Trinity Tigers. In Game 1 of the Super Regional last year, went 5 innings, had 5 hits allowed, 6 runs, but only 4 of those earned. And what he did more than anything, kept his team in the game. It was a tight one till the very end, Birmingham-Southern falling 9-8 before falling 14-8 to Trinity in Game 2. But those final scores, not totally indicative of the back and forth that was present all game long. For example, Birmingham-Southern trailed 9-6 headed to the 9th, but they scored a pair, had runners on 2nd and 3rd, could have won the game. But Trinity able to get out of a jam and win that one, then win the 2nd to move on to Cedar Rapids. But a play here or there goes the other way, and it could have been the Panthers going to Iowa. Just goes to show how these two teams compete. Nelson takes one high.
Very even, high-scoring games in that playoff series, Brian. And I think we were expecting somewhat the same when we coming into this game. Haven't gotten it yet.
Nelson lifts it to center field. Ball not carrying at all. First out of the inning, retired by White. Really doing a nice job utilizing every fielder on this defense. It was the ground balls early. Now Trinity getting it in the air a little bit more, but nothing that really scares you if you're the Panthers.
Yeah, I don't think that one would have gotten out even in better conditions, but that is something to keep in mind with these further hit balls because it's kind of cold outside. A lot of these fly balls are going to die before they get to the wall.
It is pretty chilly here in the Alamo City as Holloway swings over the top of that fastball. 51 degrees as we reach the 7 o'clock hour. Coach Weisberg saying he likes to play in San Antonio because of the warmer weather. Not sure this is exactly what he had in mind. But we'll take 51. It could be a whole lot worse as White misses off the corner there with the ball. The big question weather-wise today, though, not necessarily the temperature, more so the wind. There were predicted 35-mile-per-hour gusts in San Antonio, as Holloway testing the wind out with this high pop-up in the infield, best under it, to retire the 2nd out of the bottom of the 5th. But the wind really calming down today. The flags, you've gotten a little bit of a look out at center field, not waving in any sort of direction, and it hasn't impacted the game very much.
As we were walking to the ballpark, the wind was gusting, but as the team started to warm up before the game, it seemed to have calmed down a little bit, and I think we're kind of getting that same weather to start the game.
First pitch breaking ball to Peterson, misses for a ball. This one inside to Peterson, able to take it and get ahead of the count 2-0. Peterson, a part of that Super Regional only as a pinch runner in the 9th inning of Game 2, and he did come around to score. Gets underneath this one. Should be another fly out. This time the center fielder ranges all the way to right in front of the right fielder for the 3rd out of the 5th. So Joey White rolling on the river, headed to the top of the 6th, maintaining a 2-0 lead for Birmingham-Southern. Andrew Dutton back in his very familiar leadoff spot, not only leading off the lineup, but leading off the sixth. As we have a scoreboard, folks. I can hear all of you cheering at home. Don't worry. Birmingham-Southern up 2-0. As this game flying by so far because of the pitchers. Shavana running into just one inning of a problem. And it was all because of Andrew Dutton slapping an infield single to the third base line. And there he goes again. It gets past the dive of Holloway down to the left fielder. Preston's going to have to hurry. And he does a great job bringing it in time to keep Dutton to a single. But once again, Andrew Dutton, as Coach Weisberg said, a player who gets this team going, gets it going in the sixth.
Absolutely. First man on in the inning. It's an important job. Really sets the tone of that entire inning, starting off with a guy on base as opposed to an out.
It brings up Cam McNerney. Another piece of that fourth inning puzzle. Dutton dives back in safely off the pickoff. We are getting to that part of the game. The top of the sixth where you wonder, hit and run on, bunt possibly. Shavana certainly has that in mind as another pickoff heads the way of Hastings at first.
I think another thing that you got to keep an eye on is as you work again through the lineup. They're seeing Shavana again. It felt like they started to get a feel for what he was throwing and starting to get on it the last time through the lineup, and we'll see if that gets worse this time.
Here is a bunt, and it's a beauty. Holloway will have to make a tough throw. Won't be in time. Hastings dives to save it, but two runners on to start the top of the sixth, just like the top of the fourth, as these bunts have been beauties from the Panthers.
This bunt is perfectly executed right down the third base line, gives him a chance to get there. I don't know, he's obviously trying to get there, but when you're bunting, that's not the goal. But when you can do it and get another guy on and get your guy who was on first in the scoring position, all the better.
Panthers couldn't have drawn it up any better in these fourth and sixth innings. Get the two men on in front of their power hitter, Ian Hancock. A ball in the turf, blocked by Lazera, allows Hancock to get ahead of it here. 16 home runs, 62 runs batted in. Not many hitters with more power around the country than Ian Hancock. The senior from Roswell, Georgia, looking to anchor this Panther lineup back to a super regional appearance. And if you're a Birmingham fan, hoping a berth to Iowa. They believe they can do it. They have all the pieces they need back. They believe their pitching staff is much improved.
I think you're especially seeing that piece out of Joey White tonight. He's been dominant.
Hancock gets a hold of this one, pulls it, sending the outfielders back. It is Peterson along the wall. Makes the catch and sends it back in. Great job by Peterson ranging over in time. Panthers do have runners on the corners, but the ever-important first out gone for Trinity.
Absolutely. Great job getting it over there. If that ball gets down, they're scoring at least one run for sure. And I think that the thing I was interested in having first and second, it was very similar to the last jam that Shavana was in, a balk that got them to third. And it was really that one mistake that kind of unraveled everything, but able to get an out instead of the mistake.
Here is Noah Best. Changeup misses low and into him. We've got runners on the corners with one away. Birmingham-Southern trying to add to that two-run lead. Checking in on the runner at first is Shavana, as we got a brief glimpse at some action in the Tigers bullpen, and there we have a closer look. Appears to be Clayton Jackson getting ready. Shavana, another pickoff move. Really concerned about McNerney, as he should be. 10 stolen bases, no caught stealing for McNerney. A perfect 10 for 10. Breaking ball gets there for a strike. That would have been a good pitch to run on if McNerney wanted to, but he is still there at first. As Best takes a quick look at his third base coach, getting the signs, now ready to go.
I think an important thing to understand here for Birmingham-Southern is how valuable that third run is, especially with Trinity really struggling offensively tonight.
McNerney certainly getting a big lead over there at first, has the attention of Shavana and then some. That is 3 pickoff attempts in this at-bat alone. And you do worry a little bit about the attention not being paid to Noah Best. 14 home runs, 65 RBI in 2022. Sends it foul on that one. He led the Southern Athletic Association and was 13th in all of Division III with those 65 RBI. He was also second in the home run category behind his own teammate that just hit in front of him, Ian Hancock. But a beautiful breaking ball from Shavana gets Best swinging, and a big strikeout for number 3.
Yeah, able to get him with the slider. Shavana loves throwing the sliders on the righties in those key situations. He had been resorting to the curveball a little more than we would have expected, but gets Best there. Got him on a similar pitch where he threw it in the zone instead of out of the zone, but this time able to sweep it away from the box.
Now it is all up to the catcher, Jack Fleming. Drove in a run on a sacrifice fly his last time up. Has Dutton at third, McNearney at first. The pitch on the way from Shavana. Lazera up and throwing. It'll be not in time, says the second base umpire. A risky move there by Lazera, throwing down to second. Runner from third could have been on the way as well, but he stuck around. But all of a sudden, runners on second and third with 2 outs, so a base hit likely scores a pair.
Well, you knew you were going to see him try and take one at least one point in this game, able to get it there as they usually do, but Lazera, the arm strength, able to make that really close as that's a strike for Shavana.
Shavana able to locate it inside to these lefty hitters, so important to keep them guessing and utilize each part of the plate. He loves to use that fastball in and out. Looks like Lazera setting up inside again, this time an off-speed delivery, and it misses off by a little bit, so a 2-1 count. Shavana laser focused now on Fleming with that runner taking second. Changeup misses low to Fleming, and he's ahead 3-1.
It's a huge moment in the game. Birmingham-Southern can really open it up if they get these guys in from scoring position, but Trinity, a lot of momentum if they're able to get out of this and hang around.
For Shavana, you do have a base open. You do have a right-handed hitter on deck. Will he challenge Fleming? He does. Gets a swing. Was it tipped? A runner coming across home to score. Everybody reacted as though that was a foul ball. We'll take a look at the replay here. And it looks like it just may have been a swing and a miss off of Lazera's glove. Really hard to tell there as Shavana's leg mixing right with the ball. But it looks like it was the call of a pass ball. 3-0 now the lead for Birmingham-Southern. A 3-2 pitch gets Fleming swinging for the K. But Birmingham-Southern does add on to their lead. So Cole, so far, it hasn't been conventional, but the Panthers getting the runs when they need to.
Yeah, they've gotten some runs in some pretty weird ways. The Bach call, getting one of those runs in, and then able to get just bring the guy from third that got over because of the Bach in for a run, and then the passed ball there. But I don't know, in a weird way, I think that's going to give Shavana some confidence because it's not fully on him why those runs were scored. Like, those are some wacky kind of runs that you're not going to see very often, and I think he's pitched a very good game so far.
He's given up 5 hits, those 3 runs coming in unconventional fashion. Puts the Panthers up 3-0. We'll take a brief break here as we head to the bottom of the 6th on Tiger Network. Another run added to the tally for Birmingham-Southern finds them up 3-0 in the bottom of the sixth. A little more breathing room for Joey White, but he has not needed much room. In fact, he has been almost perfect. No hits allowed still to this potent Trinity offense.
Not only that, Brian, we don't have the pitch count in front of us, but with the amount of soft contact he's been getting in this game, I would assume it's pretty low, and that's exactly what Coach Weisberg told us. He lets the defense play behind him, as you're going to see it again here.
Yep, the third baseman playing in, watching out for the bunt off of the bat of Harris, but instead another one pitch out. That is the second consecutive inning that we have seen one pitch and one out.
Yeah, I would expect that unless Trinity can get in there and rattle him a little bit, he's going to go very far into this game.
He's got the number 9 hitter stepping in, Corson Hastings. Another first pitch swing, ground ball foul for the junior. Did not get to play in that super regional against BSC. Did make good use of the time he got out there, though, in those 7 appearances. Hit .313 in 16 at-bats. Looks at a breaking ball in the turf for a ball. Figures to get a lot of opportunities at first base, especially against right-handed pitchers like Joey White. Puts some good wood on this one. A dive by the second baseman and a stretch by Diamantis at first. What a play by the Panthers defense. Dutton and Diamantis, D&D, for out number 2.
Well, you wanted to see the athleticism out of this Birmingham Panthers defense, and you saw it from both of them right there. Second baseman able to dive and make the play, and then the ability to keep the foot on the bag as the throw was a little errant. Understandably so after having to dive and make the quick throw.
Coach Weisberg was the one that said it. Look, so many people look at our offense, and deservedly so, but they don't pay as much attention to how athletic this defense is. He loves his guys out there on the diamond and in the outfield, and right there preserving the no-hitter for Joey White with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Top of the order back up with Ezra Gore. Goes down to get it and slams his bat down, as it is just a can of corn for the center fielder. And that is 6 no-hit innings for Joey White, the opening day starter for Birmingham-Southern, making some waves here in San Antonio. It is time for the top of the 7th, as you get a great look at this stunning play. Dutton ranging over, and then Diamantis keeping his foot on the bag, a full split to keep everything intact. The tower still looming over the field. Shavana still in the game. What a treat we've gotten so far, Cole.
Absolutely. Not every day you get to see a no-hitter so far into this game. But it's been a great job, I think, by both pitchers. Joey White's obviously stolen the show, not allowing a hit yet, but Shavana, I think he's hung in there, and I think he's kept the Tigers into a position where they can still win this game if they just get some hits.
You used the term earlier in the game when talking about what Dave Smith told Joseph Shavana about becoming a dude, becoming a dominant arm. And one of the scenarios he used was not only being good against the nation's best offenses, which is a key component of being a dominant arm, it's also being dominant enough to hang in there when you're facing another ace on the mound. And it's looking like Joey White is that ace for Birmingham-Southern. And so for Shavana, can he keep his offense in the game long enough to allow them to score some runs and put it across, maybe come back in this game? So far, still 3-run deficit, but it could be worse. And we'll see how much longer Shavana keeps this score intact as a breaking ball lands in there for a strike to Jacob Zito.
I think that's the goal here, is just hold the deficit, right? I mean, there were some runs, and
hard contact here gets past the glove of Montreza. So Jacob Zito making a little noise in the bottom of the order for the Panthers. Leadoff man on for the 3rd inning out of the last 4.
I think that's really where it's bitten him, because he's been able to get out of these jams, but he's still giving up some hits to get in them. And, you know, not the best start to this one, but he's shown the ability to get out of it. And I think Dave Smith, he said specifically when he was talking about being a dominant arm is, can you trade zeros for as long as it takes for us to get that run? And he hasn't been trading zeros, but he's definitely kept Trinity hanging around in this game.
DiPiero takes the ball down and away. A pretty consistent presence in this Birmingham-Southern lineup, making 16 starts in 2022. Big looper of a breaking ball in the turf. Gets ahead 2-0, does DiPiero. His only appearance in the Super Regional against Trinity as a pinch hitter, going 0 for 2, recording a walk, and did come across to score once. Shavana taking a lot more time now. Delivers a 2-0. Lazera making the snap throw, gets away from Montreza. The backup there by Peterson keeps the runner at second. So stolen base number 2 for Birmingham-Southern. They figured to do it, and they have in the past 2 frames.
Yeah, absolutely. Third best stealing team in the nation last season. You knew they were going to bring it, especially in a high-profile matchup like this. They're going to steal runs wherever they can, and they're one step closer to doing that with one in scoring position.
The count is 3-0 in favor of DiPiero. Shavana gets a strike in there as he tries to come back in this count. Zito leading off the inning with a line drive single into left. Now DiPiero trying to get him across. Instead, he'll take ball 4 and head to first base himself. Now runners on first and second, nobody out in the top of the 7th. And with a man warming up in the bullpen, you start to wonder how many more hitters will the starter face.
Yeah, I think it might be getting to that point as Dave Smith's going to come out for at least a meeting.
And the question answered immediately,
Yep.
Cole, because that right arm of Dave Smith has gone up, signaling a call to the bullpen. That'll be it for Joseph Shavana. 6 innings. He has 2 men on base that he'll be responsible for, and he allowed those 3 runs thus far. We'll take a break as Shavana walks out to the dugout. He'll receive some high fives from his teammates. Stay tuned for what should be a great finish on Tiger Network. First call of the bullpen of the year goes to Clayton Jackson, the sophomore from Allen, Texas. What a moment for him this must be. Getting to come into opening day after not pitching at all a year ago, and the first pitch for him, right what he wanted. A pop-up bunt into the glove of Lazera, and you can hear the roars now from the Trinity dugout. Just what the doctor ordered for Jackson.
Absolutely. 1 pitch, 1 out. We've seen it all day from Joey White. This one's going to come in a bit of a weird way as the bunt's going to be a little lower and the pitch is, just gets directly under it and shoots it straight up. But exactly what Trinity needed, is now once again they're one pitch from getting out of this inning.
The big righty misses high with that one. Will Lantis taking a long look at the sign. Jackson now doing the same, looking into his catcher. 6'4", 220 is Jackson. Quick slide step there, misses low and away. He did not pitch a year ago, was dealing with a shoulder injury at the start of last year's spring training, then never really got into action game-wise, but he slowly progressed in practice, in scrimmages within the team, and now this year, a candidate for a breakout as he spots a fastball on the inside corner. Dave Smith going as far as saying at times he looked like the best pitcher on this staff this spring. And this would be a huge confidence boost for him if he can get out of this jam. He has 2 strikes on Lantis. Goes inside, a little bit off though.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to need to show it here because this is a bit of a tough situation he's been put in, especially with Birmingham-Southern's ability to steal. I don't even care if he needs to steal third to do it. I mean, they have the ability to do that, and I'm sure they'll try if they think they can do it. But just a lot of things to worry about for Jackson here.
Right there is the pitch for strike number 2. Evens it up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. We've got Zito at second, taking his secondary lead. DiPiero at first, 1 away in the top of the 7th. Pitch misses low, and it'll load the bases for Birmingham-Southern as the lineup turns over to the top in the form of Andrew Dutton.
Yeah, that's always frustrating when another guy gets on base, but in that situation, I don't think it was the worst thing in the world. That's definitely a better outcome than giving him a cookie right up the middle, where they could blow this game open. Bases are loaded, yes, but 1 out, and you can get a double play and get right out of this inning.
After the pop-up bunt, a walk, and now ball 1 to Dutton. And what we're getting to see here is the exact scenario Coach Jan Weisberg described in explaining why he has Dutton at the top of his lineup. Not the typical leadoff hitter because he doesn't have a ton of speed, but his high contact rate allows him to bring in those 7, 8, 9 hitters that so often get on base. And he has 3 of them on, pops it up to second. Harris gets 1, nearly gets 2, and he does, says the umpire. He can't believe it there at first, but Hastings running back with the ball in hand, out number 3, as Coach Weisberg out to argue with the umpire. We'll take another look at it, but for the moment, an inning-ending double play off the bat of Dutton.
You want to talk about just what the doctor ordered? This is huge, Brian. Able to make the play, pretty routine catch, but then able to have the awareness to see that the runner had a leadoff, fires it back to first. And it looked like the ump originally called that safe, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter, and this inning's going to end anyways.
A tough break for Birmingham-Southern, but if you're Lantis there, the bases are loaded. There's 2 runners in front of you. Not much pressure to really get around the bases there. Not the brightest idea to take such a big lead off of first, and it pays off for the Tigers certainly as Clayton Jackson escapes the bases-loaded jam and gives us some time to stretch. 3-0 the lead for Birmingham-Southern over Trinity in San Antonio. A big swing in the favor of the Tigers to end the top half of the 7th. And on that replay, it looked like a really tough break against Birmingham-Southern because Lantis, at least from our view, did get back in the bag in time. But of course, we don't know if his foot maybe popped off for a split second. Maybe he hit the foot of Hastings instead. We'll get another look at it here. So from there, it looks like he's clearly back, but is that foot in the way for Hastings? Does it pop off at all? We may never know, but the umpire signaled out, and it allows the Tigers to step back to the plate down just 3 in the 7th.
Absolutely. This looks like a huge break for Trinity. If they can build something off of this, because Birmingham was in a position to score more runs, and the double play to get out of the inning was exactly the position they were put in with 1 out and a guy on first, as that one's fouled off. But it's up to the Tigers to see if they can do something with this, because they just got that huge break to keep this game at 3. And now it's up to them to get the 3 or 4 runs.
They have the 2, 3, 4 hitters scheduled to go in this inning, but no one has been able to get a hit off of Joey White. Nice little battle there by Ty Preston to just flail at it and keep it alive.
I honestly think that's what it's going to take. These guys are just going to have to battle, and they're just going to have to take what they can get, because Joey White's on. He's locating everything he wants to. He's getting a lot of soft contact, but you just have to extend that at-bat and just maybe get him a little frustrated off of that.
Preston sends it the other way on the ground. Best will have to hurry. He does, and gets Preston hustling down the line for out number 1.
Yeah, able to get that soft contact again. He's been relying on it all game. I mean, maybe relying on it wasn't the right word, but he's been using it a lot and really getting it whenever he pleases. He's in complete command of this game.
Complete command is correct, Cole. Mowing through this Trinity lineup. Now facing Montreza, who nearly gets hit there on the elbow. Tigers at this point will take any base runner they can get, but Montreza ahead in the count 1-0, not headed to first on the hit by pitch.
Absolutely, it's a close one there. Not hit, but that would have been pretty big for Trinity. Just getting somebody on even. I mean, they haven't had, I think they've only had 1, maybe 2 base runners all day. And just trying to get one here.
Another slow roller to Best. He has it, gets his counterpart out. Diamante's doing work over there at first, really saving his infielders.
Yeah, you talk about the first baseman not having to be as athletic as the other positions, but it doesn't look like it tonight. He's having to do a lot of work out there. I think that's the second time he's gone to nearly a full split, keeping his toe on the bag and able to get the out.
Well, I think you're getting a perfect example as to why the 5th year from Atlanta, despite hitting .214 a year ago, started in 22 ball games for the Panthers. His defense been very valuable in keeping this no-hitter intact. Lazara swings at the first pitch, a lazy fly ball foul.
And Nick Lazara may be one of those guys to get the Tigers out of this funk. Coach Scannell called him the best pure hitter on the team, only switch hitter on the roster, and trying to get something going.
He chops it up the middle. Can Best get it in time? Yes, he does. Another big-time stretch by Diamantes leads to a fist bump from him. Could have been the first hit of the evening. Instead, Noah Best records all 3 outs in the bottom half of the 7th, and we'll get another look at it. Might have tipped the glove of White, nearly hits the bag. Best bobbled it, got it in his hand, and once again, a close call, this time though in favor of the Panthers. What a game we have between BSC and Trinity. Did you expect anything less? Of course not. We're headed to the top of the 8th. Stay tuned for more on Tiger Network. We've had a pair of close calls at first, swinging in either direction. Clayton Jackson, the beneficiary of one. The bases were loaded. It was a little soft pop-up to second base that led to a double play. And now on the other end, Birmingham-Southern keeping Trinity at 0 with the stretch of Diamantis. Finds us in the top of the 8th with the 2-3-4 hitters on deck for Birmingham-Southern. Cam McNearney will get things going, taking a couple of balls here out of the arm of Jackson.
Yeah, Clayton Jackson able to get out of that last jam. Got a little bit fortunate with what a call that might have been safe at first base, getting that double play. But he's going to have to hold the deficit here again if Trinity's going to want to have a chance.
Jackson missing again, so falling behind McNearney. We've highlighted all night how Dutton and McNearney, the table setters for the Panthers, really doing their job. A strike called there on McNearney to keep him in the box. But each inning that the Panthers have scored have seen McNearney and Dutton on base. And that is exactly what you want out of your 1 and 2 holes. And here we go again with McNearney drawing the walk and bringing up Ian Hancock.
Yeah, Trinity's really struggled with these leadoff hitters tonight, and that's been putting them in a hole. You know, they're having to deal with guys on first and second, especially with Birmingham's ability to take bases. It's just not a position that you want to put yourself in, especially against a team like this.
Lazera, second time we've seen him take a stroll to the mound. Good to see smiles on his face and of Jackson. Not putting too much pressure on themselves in what could be a pressure-packed moment for anyone. Opening day under the lights, Friday night. As a baseball player growing up, you want nothing more, and these guys out there getting to fulfill their dreams. Jackson standing tall, delivering to Hancock in the turf. Lazera blocks it. McNearney not going anywhere.
Lazera's done a great job blocking everything tonight. I mean, there was that one pass ball that resulted in the run, and that might have been foul. We don't know, but other than that, not a lot to speak of in terms of something getting by him.
Checking in on McNearney, not going anywhere on that one. Jackson ahead 0-1 on Hancock. Sent one to deep right center field. He'll have to wait on another pickoff. It was a pretty free flowing swing, didn't have too much on it, yet it ended up on the warning track. Shows the power that number 15 has. Jackson again will send McNearney diving into first, and McNearney at the very least getting in the head of first Shavana, now Jackson. Really distracting him, and here we go again. And this would not be able to happen if you watch Major League Baseball this year. One of the big rule changes that you cannot pick off more than twice. And so we've already doubled that up as a visit to the mound coming up for Jackson. Dave Smith going to talk to him maybe about these pickoffs and not the focus on Hancock.
Yeah, maybe just really worried about the speed of this Birmingham team, and they've emphasized that a lot in practice. Jack Martinez was talking to us about how he's in particular been working on his sidestep and his pivot and his bullpen, but yeah, really concerned about the speed that this team has.
And after that lengthy conversation, Dave Smith decides to make a change. Clayton Jackson will not finish the at-bat despite getting ahead of Ian Hancock. It'll be a switch to Jack Schmidt, the second man out of the Tiger bullpen. We'll take a break as he warms up and be right back on Tiger Network. Top of the 8th, 0-1 count, but that did not stop a pitching change from being made. Jack Schmidt will do the same thing Clayton Jackson did 4 times in a row before being called out. Check on the runner at first. So we have highlighted all game, and clearly the Tiger pitchers got the memo. These Panthers like to steal, and they are quite concerned about those runners at first. Jack Schmidt, his first pitch fouled. The senior from St. Louis, Missouri, appeared in 8 games a year ago, a 12.6 ERA, an inflated number because he didn't complete a whole lot of innings. In fact, he only pitched a complete inning twice last year, used in a lot of moments here and there sparingly. Gets a strike on the outside part of the plate.
I think an important note with Jack Schmidt is you just look at his 2021 numbers. He had a 4.82 ERA in 28 innings pitched. So I think that's probably more reflective of the type of pitcher that we hopefully see this year.
Goes in on Hancock, nearly hits him. Lazera gets out in front of it to keep McNearney at first, and the count evened up at 2. We'll see what Schmidt decides on. Lazera setting up inside. That's where he gets it. A chopper to first. Hastings on to second for 1. Back to first, not in time. Excellent play, though, by Corson Hastings to get the lead runner.
Yeah, getting that lead runner, pretty huge. Difference between a guy at first and a guy at second. Not able to execute the double play, but it's important that you get 1 out as opposed to nobody and not rushing that first part of the play.
It'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Noah Best. Hancock now over there at first. He squares to bunt, does Best. Looks at a strike. .371 hitter is the senior from Georgia. Another check on Hancock. Not much of a threat to steal out of all of these Panther hitters, perhaps because he doesn't spend a whole lot of time on first base, hitting all those home runs and extra base hits. Did have 6 steals, caught once. Staying put for now as that pitch misses outside. Game slowing down a bit here in the top of the 8th. It's been lightning fast for many parts of this ball game. Off-speed delivery is a foul ball. Can Lazera find room? No, he cannot, as it bounces along the bricks behind there. A chilly night in San Antonio, but still a good crowd on hand. People bundled up in those blankets as the temperature dips into the 40s.
A lot of respect, especially to those people who are sitting on those bleachers. Looks like it really cold out in front. It's a nice padded seat. Those bleachers, it seems to absorb the temperature.
Changeup gets Best out in front. Can Holloway finish the play? A little bobble on the throw, and that's just enough to let Best beat it. It was going to be a tough play from the start, especially with Best getting a head start out of the box. And you'll see on that replay enough of trouble for Holloway getting it out of his glove. And it puts Hancock on second and Best at first with 2 outs in the top of the 8th.
Absolutely, Brian. That half second's what's going to cost the throw and the out ultimately. Had to rush the throw because he bobbled it and lost that half second, and the throw ends up being a little high because of it.
So now we have Jack Fleming, who has been at the center of all the action tonight. First pitch in the turf will get to the backstop and move the runners over to third and second. Fleming has driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. He was also the man at the plate when he swung and a pass ball got by Lazera to drive in the 3rd run of the game. So it hasn't been what he's used to maybe, but nonetheless Fleming doing his job in providing issues for this Trinity pitching staff, and now has a chance to drive in 2 big runs in the top of the 8th. Breaking ball, Schmidt finds the top half of the zone.
It's going to take a lot for Schmidt to get out of this one. That was an unfortunate play there, allowing the runners to all move into scoring position. But once again, it's a pressure situation, 3-0, still in the game. If Birmingham scores here, it's going to be pretty tough for Trinity to come back.
Foul ball, straight back into the net. Gives Schmidt 2 strikes on Fleming. Schmidt, someone who has flirted with the two-way player idea, spending time in practice as a hitter as well as a pitcher. But over the last couple of seasons especially, really focused in on the mound. And he, along with his pitching coach, believe he can have a big year as a senior. Trusting him in a massive spot here. 2 strikes on Fleming. That's going to be in the air. Who will call for it? Holloway and Hastings charging. It's Hastings who gets it. And 1 step closer to getting out of it is Schmidt.
Yeah, it's a good thing that he got it under that one as much as he did, because if he gets that one further out, they can bring in a run and make this 4-0. But it's popped up really high and not going to go very far. Stays in the infield, and Trinity able to cash in on the out.
Before Zito gets a hack, another visit to the mound. Dave Smith in his thick maroon coat, having a conversation here with Jack Schmidt. These two teams so familiar with one another. Trinity winning all 3 matchups a year ago. First in the first weekend of the series, and then in the Super Regional. Not an easy place to win at all is Birmingham, but the Tigers going into Alabama and earning a berth to that World Series. The 3rd ever for the Trinity Tigers. Of course, that 2016 World Series championship. Those banners on full display if you come watch a Trinity baseball game here in San Antonio. Birmingham-Southern reaching that World Series in 2019 and reaching the final championship series once there, but falling just a bit short. Zito looks at a breaking ball there for a strike. Coach Weisberg saying that is what he is most excited about this year, just the chase to the World Series.
Well, he's certainly experienced with it. This team in the mix pretty much every year. Very reliable program, very reliable in the offense that they're going to produce. And it's always fun to start that new season and begin the chase once again.
Nice stop there by Lazera to keep it in front of him with those runners in scoring position. Birmingham-Southern becoming a D3 powerhouse. 5 SAA championships, 8 NCAA playoff appearances, and they start the year ranked number 4 in the country. A changeup looked good for a strike out of Schmidt's hand, and he's ahead 1-2 on the transfer, who's looking to make a good first impression on Panther Pride. Schmidt loves his changeup. He saw it on that last pitch. Will he go to it again? The 1-2 misses high and away. Lazera setting up outside once more. Can Schmidt hit his glove? He does, and that's a called 3rd strike for Jack Schmidt. He comes out of the bullpen with runners in scoring position, just 1 away, and he gets out of it, keeping the score at 3-0. Tigers looking to get on the board after you get a look at this call, 3rd strike. Stay tuned on Tiger Network to see if the Tigers can get a hit and if they can get a run. You're going to have to get used to seeing Nick Lazera behind the plate as a catcher. And on that last strikeout, really doing his pitcher some favors, Cole.
Absolutely. This is a pretty borderline pitch that might actually be outside, but Lazera able to bring it in and basically make that a strike. He left no doubts about it. Really great frame job by the catcher there.
That's your job as a backstop, and it keeps the Tigers within 3 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Brandon Nelson will be the leadoff hitter here. Joey White, the starting pitcher, still out there. This one goes to Best, and he has been a magnet there, folks. Noah Best, the shortstop, getting the best of these Tigers tonight.
Yeah, great diving play there. This is actually one of the first ones that looked close to being a hit. And Best able to just take it away. And it goes back to the point we've been making all night. This Birmingham-Southern defense is very athletic, and I think all 4 infielders have shown their athleticism on full display tonight.
Holloway, first pitch swinging just like Nelson was. Is this going to drop? It is! The first base hit of the evening for the Tigers off the bat of Christian Holloway. A little dying quail that finds room in center. And can that get the Tigers going?
Location, location, location. Sometimes it's not about how you hit it, but it's about where you hit it. You're just going to drop this basically in the middle of everybody. Nobody knows whose ball it is. They're all coming at it. 4 different Birmingham-Southern defenders coming at this ball thinking it could be theirs. Nobody able to get there because it's just right in that perfect spot. And that's sometimes how this game works.
I think Holloway just wanted to test out that new Tiger logo in center field to go along with this new turf, Cole.
Maybe, but first hit of the night, and feels good to break that barrier, and they got 2 innings to get 3 runs.
First hit of the night, first hit of the season, courtesy of Christian Holloway. Peterson swinging at the first pitch as well, so the strategy certainly not changing for these Tiger hitters. They have been aggressive. A lot of the times, though, it has resulted in quick outs, allowing White to stay deep into this game. Now has to deal with Holloway at first, gives a quick look. Now a breaking ball misses to Peterson. Count evened up at 1.
I'm glad you mentioned those quick swings because I think that has factored into why he's been able to stay in this game so long. If they're swinging on early pitches like that and grounding out, and then his pitch count's not going up. Montreza had an at-bat where he kept fouling off pitches and was able to extend his at-bat a little bit. That's really the only time I can remember an extended at-bat where Joey White had to make multiple pitches to get him out.
He's having to make multiple pitches here, falling behind 2-1 to Peterson. The first sign of trouble in a while for White. He walked Colt Harris earlier, but did not go farther than first. And now the first base hit for the Tigers, a 2-2 count after a strike delivered from White. We've got Peterson at the plate, Harris on deck, and then Hastings before the lineup gets back to the top in Ezra Gore. So if the Tigers are going to get back in this ball game, you have to imagine it'll be right here. White checking in on Holloway, now ready to deliver the 2-2. Breaking ball. Peterson went. That'll be strike 3, and with the first base occupied, Peterson cannot go. We'll take a look at this replay. Peterson may have thought he could run, but then the umpire reminding him he has to stay right there. Clutch pitch for Joey White.
Absolutely, went with the curveball and able to get Peterson, and you could tell that, like, Peterson, it looked like he kind of knew and he didn't want to go, but at the same time his instincts just took over. I thought he was able to get a piece of it for a second, but not able to. And it looks like that'll be the night for Joey White.
What a night it has been, though. And you can see the Birmingham-Southern faithful making the trip down to San Antonio, giving him a round of applause. His infielders patting him on the back, and the entire Panther dugout out to greet Joey White, the sophomore from Pembroke, Georgia, stunning the Tiger offense, keeping them off the board through 7 2/3. He's got a runner on second that he'll be responsible for. But if you're the Panthers, you had a lot of questions about your pitching this year, and many of them may have been answered tonight by Joey White.
Yeah, absolutely. That was similar to Trinity. Huge question was how all aspects of the pitching were going to handle themselves. But Joey White, the only one we've seen so far, but man, did he look good. Trinity just couldn't get a read on him, and they couldn't get any runs while he was in there.
The Panthers led the SAA in batting average, on-base percentage, slugging, home runs, stolen bases, and doubles. And I say it in that fashion to just show how many categories they led. Offense has never been the problem. It has been that pitching staff that kept them out of the World Series a year ago. And if the likes of a sophomore, such a young guy in Joey White, can deliver like he did tonight, you might see those Birmingham-Southern Panthers deep into May and June. They'll make a call to the bullpen after the strikeout, though, and it'll be another sophomore that really impressed a year ago. Davis Williams, the sophomore from Cartersville, Georgia, will come in with a runner on second, 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. And as we stay here during the warm-up pitches for him, it lets us highlight how big these sophomores really were. Even though it wasn't a consistent pitching staff, if anybody was able to step up, it was these sophomores in the form of Davis Williams, Joey White, and Connor Adams, who we might see later in this game, for sure this series.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I noticed looking through Birmingham's lineup is that their hitters are so experienced and so much older, senior. But then you get to this pitching staff, and they were all first years last year, at least all the key contributors. So they're going to have this staff intact for a while, you would think.
First task on hand for Davis Williams, the second baseman, Colt Harris. Certainly has the pop in his bat to make this a one-run game in a hurry. A slider gets away from Fleming. Holloway will mosey on over to third, and the first run of the game just 90 feet away for Trinity.
Yeah, first time they've had it this close. This is just going to get away. And really, you thought that double play, getting out of that could be the first big break for Trinity. If that's the first, this is definitely the second.
Harris gets contact here, sends it to center field. Right there for the third out is the center fielder, as he has been all night long, not letting anything drop. It's McNearney, who has been a pest on the base pass and out there in center. So a little bit going for the Tigers, but they can't bring it home. They get their first hit of the night, but still a 0 on the scoreboard. Time for the 9th inning on Tiger Network right after this. It's the 9th inning in San Antonio. Starts off with a called strike on DiPiero. Jack Schmidt still on the mound after recording a couple of big outs to keep Birmingham-Southern at 3.
Yeah, able to hold the deficit, and that's really the responsibility of him in this situation. Just give your guys a chance to win in the 9th. They haven't had a lot going, but it's not really going to matter if you can't hold this deficit. Did Lazara get hit there?
It was a bunt attempt by DiPiero. And it went straight down, hitting Lazara. The agony of being a catcher.
Yeah, right above the pads, the inner part of the leg. That one definitely doesn't feel good. You can see it on his face, just walking it off right now.
I know you've never been a catcher, Cole. I know I have never been a catcher. Someone who does know what that must feel like, Luke Terry, who has joined us on the broadcast last couple of seasons. If you're listening, maybe send us a chat, Luke. Miss having you on here. And as a former catcher yourself, I'm sure you know that feeling all too well, as Taylor Swift might say. Right after that break, Lazera thankfully looking good. Hastings gets it to Schmidt covering the bag. And the first out of the inning gone by for Birmingham-Southern.
Good job by Schmidt there, playing your defensive role. The role of a pitcher is not over once you throw the ball. He has to go run to first and cover the bag, and does so very efficiently there, as no communication mistakes from Corson Hastings and Jack Schmidt.
Change up, a strike called to Byron Millsap, the sophomore from Mobile, Alabama. Hitting in the spot of Diamantes, nearly gets hit. Gets his shoulder out of the way, however, and this is a spot that Millsap is quite familiar with. He made 22 appearances a year ago, but get this, he just had 4 at-bats as he takes a strike outside there, because he was mostly a defensive replacement late in games. So 22 appearances, just 4 ABs, tells you he came in towards the end of these games, although from what we saw from Diamantes, he was doing quite well over there at first.
Absolutely. Several long stretches for Diamantes, able to keep his toe on the bag. He did a really good job, and I think he showed his athleticism about as well as you can for a first baseman. You know, some throws, having the stretch all the way out for.
Schmidt thought he nailed it on the outside corner. Umpire says not so fast. Lazera's frame not working there. So Millsap still in the box. Swing and a miss. That is strike 3. No doubt about it. And it'll be up to Will Lantis to keep this 9th inning going.
And a great pitch going to the outside. Able to get a swing and the miss, and he's just doing his job, holding that deficit. Able to get the ground ball and then get the strikeout. And that one's right down the middle. We'll see how we can get Lantis. As if Lantis gets on, then he's a real threat to get in the scoring position very quickly, just with his ability to steal.
Changeup misses there after a strike perfectly on the corner, so the count even at 1. You're seeing good rhythm out of Jack Schmidt. A changeup freezing Lantis, unable to get the bat off his shoulders, and he's ahead 1-2.
Doesn't he seem like there's like a different tempo with him and a different confidence in this inning? Like, it just seems a lot more smooth, a lot cleaner. It seems like he's locating really well, and he just looks a lot more in command of the game right now.
Looking to finish off a clean 9th inning. Little off on the corner there.
I think Lazera tried to frame that one again. Didn't get the call this time, though.
Lazera continues to set up outside, and it is outside, not where he wanted it. Makes it a full count. Like you said, Cole, do not want to put Lantis on first. Schmidt goes to the changeup. Lantis not able to hold back. Sends it into foul territory. Nice job by Hastings dealing with that new foul territory that these players have had to deal with. And it's a 1-2-3 top half of the 9th for Jack Schmidt. Tigers coming to bat in the bottom of the 9th, looking to make some opening day magic happen in the Alamo City. It'll be the number 9 hitter to get things going for the Trinity Tigers as they look to make a big-time comeback in the bottom half of the ninth, beg your pardon. It has been a slow night for the offense. Just one hit coming in the last inning, all the way in the bottom of the 8th. Christian Holloway finally getting on the board. But now the Tigers have to deal with the sophomore closer, Davis Williams. His funky delivery misses with that first pitch. But he recorded 7 saves a year ago, and he led the conference 9th in the entire country, appearing in 25 games. So Coach Weisberg not afraid to use him early and often.
Well, one thing Coach Weisberg said about Davis Williams, and we're seeing it already in this at-bat, is he pounds the strike zone. And he's not going to beat himself. He's not going to let somebody get on base. So if these Tigers want to come back, they're going to have to earn it, and they're going to have to swing.
It's been exclusively fastballs in this at-bat. Gets Williams ahead 1-2. See him bend those knees a little bit as he looks into his catcher. Now winds up. The changeup gets Hastings out in front. Millsaps on to first. First out. Recorded.
Yep, able to get the soft contact here. I said they're going to have to swing to beat him. That one looked like it might have been a little low, but I think they're getting the memo, as pretty much every other pitch before that in that at-bat was in the zone and located really well. Have to swing, and it's the same story all night, ground ball.
Can the top of the lineup get anything going with 2 outs to work with? Ezra Gore will look to find out. First pitch breaking ball, perfectly placed for a strike.
Did you see how late that broke? That looked like it broke right in front of Ezra's face. That was an incredible pitch.
More incredible movement there. Gets Gore swinging in a quick 0-2 count in the favor of Davis Williams. And you are seeing exactly why he appeared in 25 games. Davis Williams, an electrifying arm out of the bullpen, misses high here.
Oh, that was kind of smart by him. He misses high. You're thinking Ezra Gore might be thinking, okay, this one's going to break down as well. See if we can get him swinging. Able to lay it off a bit.
Williams shaking off Fleming once more, going with that slider. It does end up as a ball. Gore doing a nice job laying off of it after swinging at one earlier in the at-bat. So the count tied up at 2 as Gore desperate to try to get anything going for this Tiger offense. Gore fights it off.
This is exactly the guy you want in this situation if you're Trinity. It looks like Gore's saying something, but, you know, been here for a long time. Definitely one of the hitters you're going to most trust in this situation.
Off-speed pitch, way outside this time. You can see Fleming, the catcher, is starting to tell his pitcher, just calm yourself down a little bit. This is a tough matchup for Williams in terms of going back into his memory bank against Trinity. The 3-2 right on the outside corner gets the strikeout. Getting ready to say how Williams really needing to overcome this obstacle that is Trinity. He took the loss a year ago in Game 2 of the Super Regional that eliminated Birmingham-Southern. He gave up 5 runs in just an inning of work. And so you have to imagine he remembers that quite well, and it would mean a lot to him to send the Tigers home packing on opening day. All that's left between them and a victory is Ty Preston, who falls behind 0-1 as Williams dots a fastball on the corner.
Absolutely. Trying to get some revenge. Coach Weisberg said that revenge isn't really an aspect in this rivalry. That's not really something that they're going into Trinity thinking about, how that season ended. They just said they're really excited to chase the World Series again. But you got to think specifically for Davis Williams, this could mean a lot.
We'll have to wait just a little bit longer to find out if he can get that save, though, as Ty Preston pumps up his dugout with a 2-out double. Tiger is not dead just yet, as Michael Montreza will step up, looking to keep it alive, has the cleanup hitter right behind him. So these are the power bats you want if you're the Tigers.
Absolutely. Coach Scano was talking to us about one thing that he really wants to see with all these unknowns in the lineup, who's going to step up in a big moment. And well, we're about to find out with some of these guys. Not necessarily if they don't do it, but if they do it, I think you learn a lot.
Hopefully you can hear the noise coming out of the Trinity dugout trying to rattle the sophomore here.
He was very frustrated on the at-bat with Ezra Gore. Ezra Gore kept fouling it off, taking the right pitches, able to extend that one. And you see his teammates following suit as Montreza takes another one there.
Montreza ahead 2-0, and it'll bring Fleming out to the mound for a visit. Williams needing to slow things down a little bit, a pitching visit as well from the dugout.
You can see a little bit of the frustration from him ever since that Ezra Gore at bat, and then gives it the double to Ty Preston. You see the Tigers starting to build something. They've been starting to build something a few times in this game, haven't been able to cash in. They're going to need to if they want to win this one.
This is a Trinity offense we talked at the top of the broadcast. Certainly very powerful, but they are missing several key pieces, including Brian Schaub. He broke the Trinity record for home runs in a single season with 16. He is no longer here at Bryant, the Division I school. You also are missing MJ Metz, who led in so many offensive categories. He's over at Duke, another Division I school. So it's not easy to lose so many pieces to D1 colleges. But the Tigers on this opening day, seeing what they have from this starting 9, likely will see new guys in the lineup tomorrow as well. But in the meantime, trying to make something happen. Ty Preston doubling to left, and Montreza up 3-0. Looks at the fastball right down Broadway, but still well in command of this count.
Absolutely. One ball away from getting on first. Be the first time all game that the Tigers have had 2 people on the right time. Bottom of the 9th, down 3. As he fouls that one off, but I want to bring it back to the Trinity bullpen. It was such a big question mark coming into the season. Able to hold the deficit throughout several innings, several times where Birmingham-Southern had opportunities to put this game away. Able to keep this at 3 and give Trinity a chance here.
The count full at 3-2. Jack Fleming giving his pitcher a fist bump ahead of this big pitch. It misses outside. The bat toss to the dugout brings the tying run to the plate in the form of Nick Lazera.
That was really close, Brian. It looked like it could have barely caught that outside edge. We'll see a better look on the replay. No, I think it was outside. But Nick Lazera coming up with a huge opportunity. He brings some of these guys in. We mentioned it earlier. Coach Scannell saying that he's the best pure hitter on the team, and he has a real chance to show it here.
We've been out at practice the last several weeks, and no one hits the ball harder than Lazera. Looks at a ball high for ball 1 as he strolls out of the batter's box, and the pressure building on Davis Williams. He was on the mound when his team got eliminated at home a year ago to these very Tigers. And he's at risk of giving up this lead. Lazera, ball 2.
Can hear the crowd really getting into it. Not a lot to cheer about offensively all night, but finally getting some momentum at the last possible time they can. And if Lazera can bring the leading run to the plate, and maybe drive in some runs himself too, oh, this would be huge.
The 2-0 pitch finds the top half of the zone to get Williams back in this at-bat. Lazera not looking very interested in that pitch at all. We've got Preston at second, Montreza at first. The 2-1 to Lazera. A nice pitch to hit, but he can't get a hold of it. Fouls it back, and now the count even at 2.
It's kind of interesting in this inning. We've seen 2 things change. We've seen the Trinity hitters lay off a lot of pitches early, which we hadn't seen earlier in the game. And we've seen Davis Williams throw more balls if we've been told he pounds the strike zone, but he has a chance. Make us all forget here.
Hasn't made us forget quite yet. It is a full count to the cleanup hitter. Williams pacing back and forth, taking deep breaths in this chilly San Antonio evening. Runners on first and second, 2 outs, a full count. Tigers down 3. Lazera fouls it away to stay alive.
Exactly what he needs to do there. Just get a piece of it. It's going in the zone. Able to keep this game alive. Just extend the at-bat, something they weren't doing throughout the entire game. Just extend at-bats, get the pitcher frustrated, and they've been making a clinic of it in this 9th inning.
Full count pitch on the way again. Inside, strike 3 called, says the home plate umpire, and Davis Williams escapes with the save. Birmingham-Southern marches into San Antonio and takes the opening day game 3-0 over the Tigers. We'll look at this one. A tough pitch to take on 3-2. A great frame jog by Fleming. And just like Lazera did as a catcher, now experiences the pain of it as the hitter who strikes out to end the ball game.
Yeah, that was a close pitch, but definitely the story of the game, this Birmingham-Southern pitching staff. Joey White able to come out and dominate. Not really any jams he ever had to get out of. And when Trinity's having to play catch-up like that and having to get their offense together late, you see the result of it now.
Joey White, a name to remember, a masterful performance by the sophomore from Pembroke, Georgia. Took a no-hitter into the 8th inning and allowed his team to get the opening day victory. The offense for Birmingham-Southern did just enough, not in the typical fashion you see of them. Had a sacrifice fly, a pass ball, and a balk lead to the 3 runs. But when you are a ranked team this high and this early in the season, you'll take any win to get in that win column. And that's all they'll see, Cole, 1-0 next to their record.
Absolutely, that's all that matters. They found a way to get the win. Some of the runs came in some abnormal ways, but they won't care. They're walking out of here with a win.
Good thing for us, good thing for both teams. We are right back at it tomorrow. It's the beauty of baseball. These 3-game series means we will be right back here at 2 p.m. for Game 2 of this 3-game series. Thank you so much, folks, for hanging with us throughout this game. We know we were dealing with a lot, but you stuck with us, and we sincerely appreciate it. We hope to be back in order tomorrow. And then Sunday at 11, so much more good baseball on the way, and we hope you join us for each second of the action. For Cole Isaacson, I'm Brian Yanselson. Thank you so much for making this happen on Tiger Network.